Hello everyone and welcome back to the FIDE World Cup 2021. It's round 5 and it's Sam Shankland versus Peter Svidler. This is their second game in the classical time format, and in the first game where Svidler had the white pieces, it was a pretty hard-fought game. Maybe Svidler had an edge at some point with the white pieces, but nothing too serious, and in the end it ended in a draw. Now Shankland has the white pieces, and this is one of the nicer games we've seen so far. So without further ado, let's check it out. It's going to feature two really awesome pause the video moments, so be prepared. So Shankland with the white pieces opens with d4, and in chess often one square will make a difference, but in this game it makes all the difference. I think maybe even Sun Tzu once said such a thing, that in chess one square makes a difference, but who would know such things? So here we have knight to f6, c4, g6, and now probably Svidler was very happy to go for the Grunfeld, if maybe knight to c and knight to c3 and the d5, but we are in 2021, and of course we have to push h4 as soon as possible. So Shankland goes for the immediate h4. We have bishop to g7 and only now knight to c3. We have d6 now, and e4, grabbing the center here very nicely. We have knight to c6, and now knight g to e2. So adding more protection to the pawn here. And there is one game in the database from 2019 from the Grandchester Blitz tournament in Paris between Alexander Grishuk and Maxim Vachier-Lagrave, where knight to h5 was played. Maxim lost this game, but here Svidler just castles, and it is now already as of move 6 that we have a completely new game. So let's see how Shankland continues. We have f3, strengthening his center here, and now you already realize that white is most likely not castling kingside. He's gonna play something like bishop e3, move the queen somewhere, and then castle queenside, and then use these pawns to attack, bust open black's kingside, and to attack. And of course, Svidler will have to attack on the queen side. So here we have e5, and white of course wants to keep the center closed if he wants to attack on the king side. So d5, and now knight to d4. It seems like this is a free pawn, but not really. If you capture this, then just knight captures on e4 and you lose the game. The queen has to move, then the knight, for example, can come to g3, and then it's just really bad. And of course, if you capture it, then we just win the queen. So after knight to d4, we have bishop to e3, just continuing development, and now c5. And this knight is now a monster here, so you have to capture this. D captures on c6 en passant, so captures, and again, you really do not want to allow this pawn to come to c5. It's just going to be a better position for black. So here we have to capture it and accept Peter's pawn sacrifice. So here captures, and we have bishop captures on d4, and now rook to b8, putting pressure on the b2 pawn, as the white king is still in the center of the board. And like we said, the king is it's very hard to imagine this king castling king side, so it makes sense to start attacking on the queen side, even at the price of a pawn. So queen to c2, defending the pawn, preparing to castle, and now c5, pushing the bishop back. We have bishop to f2, and now bishop to e6, so getting a lot of development in. Now putting pressure on this pawn, this knight can come to d7 to b6, then we're going to put more pressure on this pawn, and white king is still in the center of the board. So here we have castles queen side. We have knight to d7. The rook here is attacking the d6 pawn, but Svidler goes for this idea all the same. He just wants to attack. There is no time for counting pawns this game. So knight to d7, and now do you capture this or not? Well, it's kind of too nice of a pawn to, just forget about it. So here, rook captures on d6, Shankland grabs it, and the queen to a5 now. And now you can see that pretty much all of black's pieces are attacking white's queen side. The bishop is here, the rook is here. You can maybe double rooks, bring the other rook here. The knight is coming to b6. There's going to be a lot of pressure on c4. So Svidler definitely getting a lot for his pawns. Sorry about that. And here it's a really tricky position. You could so easily go wrong. For example, if you try to just develop pieces without any, any idea of what's happening. Let's say you play bishop to d3. There's even ideas like rook captures on b2, and this is just terrible for white. It doesn't really matter what you capture with. If king captures, we're going to play rook to b8 check. King c1, now we're going to capture back, and white's position is completely busted. So after queen to a5, we have bishop to e1. This is the most precise move and the only way to defend. We have to add more defenders here, and also now we are kind of eyeing that queen there, so maybe we can use that in the future. capture. So knight to e5, now attacking the pawn this way with the bishop and the knight. And here you could continue in maybe with b3, a bit of a defensive idea, maybe h5. But Shankland goes for f4. He says, well, while this is all very nice, maybe I'm giving black too much opportunities to attack. So I'm just going to play f4, dislodge this knight, and then play e5, and this will block his very strong bishop on g7. So here, knight captures on c4. We have bishop captures. That light square bishop wasn't really doing anything for the entire game, so Sam very happily trades it. We have bishop captures, and now e5. So now we've eliminated one of the attackers, and it's time to concentrate on our own attack. So here we have rook f to d8. Svidler says, all right, that's a very active rook. Let's get rid of it. We have rook captures, and now h5. Sam continues with the attack on the king side, and now bishop captures on a2. If white allows it, so we're just going to capture it. We have h captures on g6, h captures on g6, and now knight to e4. And this is the critical moment of the game where black is perfectly fine, white is perfectly fine. Both of them have great attacking chances, but as Sun Tzu once said, one square really makes a difference. So here, Svidler played queen to b6, whereas this is much different than, for example, placing the queen on b5, which is the correct idea. But we're gonna swing back to this position and see why this makes such a big difference, because after queen to b6, the position is now lost for black. So feel free to pause the video here and win this game for white while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on figuring all of this out, because it's not easy. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it's bishop to h4. This is the only winning move, and well, what a move it is. The idea is your rook is under attack, and you really don't have a good idea of what to do with the rook. You could play something like f6, but this just runs into captures on f6, and black didn't really do anything here. So what you could do is rook to d4. This makes sense, and this is the absolute strongest move for black. Svidler played it, and you are threatening rook to c4, which wins the white queen. The problem is white has knight to f6 check, and it's just all very ugly. You can never capture and then go for this, because if you capture and now play rook to c4, yes, you kind of do win the queen, but not really, because it's mate in one. Rook to h8 would be checkmate. So after knight to f6 check, you have to play king to f8, and now comes bishop to f2, and this is just beautiful. So all of these moves are perfectly coordinated, and there's just nothing black can do here. Rook to c4 is simply losing, because okay, you are attacking the queen, but bishop captures on c5 is the main idea here. And now it doesn't matter what you capture with, because well, the queen here and here is in range of the knight. And now you see the difference between placing the queen on b6 and on b5. Had the queen been on b5, then we would have no such fork. But now if, for example, rook captures, knight d7 check, king has to move, and now we just pick up the rook. The knight is nicely defending our queen, and this is now a winning position for white. So just to quickly go back into that position now, if queen to b5, now, for example, if we check the same idea, maybe it will be easier for you like this, seeing the queen on b5, rook d4, and now if you go knight f6, king f8, and now bishop to f2, now rook c4 is deadly. There is no queen on b6 or will ever be on c5. Now, if we just continue with bishop captures on c5, rook captures, and the queen still hangs. And now white has to resort to this check. At least he will fork the rook. We're going to capture the queen. Now queen captures on c5, and now, for example, king to g8 check, and we have two bishops against the rook. This is, again, completely winning for black. So huge difference between queen to b6 and queen to b5 in this variation, as you've seen. So here, after this, sorry, bishop f2, bishop captures on f6. We already shown this line. So after bishop to f2, you can't really go rook to c4, and now bishop captures on f6 was played. So e captures on f6, otherwise you again run into some very nasty ideas. Queen captures on f6, but now there's nothing to be done here. Queen captures on c5 check was played. Now you're gonna pick up the rook. So rook to d6, only move that kind of defends the position, but now there is only one winning move for white, and well, that's all there, that's necessary. So for the second time, pause the video and win the game for Shankland while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on spotting this amazing idea. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it's queen to c8 with check. This was move 30, and it was in this position that Peter Svidler resigned the game. And as this is the second classical game, this means that Peter Svidler is out of the FIDE World Cup, and Sam Shankland is the first player to qualify for the quarterfinals of the 2021 FIDE World Cup. So congratulations to Sam. It's a remarkable achievement, and really what a game to achieve such a thing. Only 30 moves in a classical time format. So here, after queen to c8 check, you resign because, well, if king g7, then queen to h8 is checkmate. The rook here defends the queen, and other than that, you really don't have any more options. You could block with the queen, but then it's just rook to h8 check. Wins very simply. King e7, we can capture the queen, and now we don't even have to play this. Just bishop h4, and we're gonna pick up the rook for free. And it's no different if after queen to c8 check, you block with the rook. It's absolutely the same. We could even capture, but yeah, we could even capture rook to h8 check, and it's the same idea. King e7, and now bishop to h4 will again win the queen for free. King e6 or whatever, and now we're just gonna pick up the queen, and that's it. So of course Peter saw this, and after queen to c8, he resigned the game. So really, really awesome stuff. We'll see what's happening in some of the other games of the 2021 FIDE World Cup. I think some of them might already be finished as I'm recording this while they are still playing. So stay tuned for more games of this round 5. So yeah, once again, hope you guys enjoyed it. I would like to thank Jan de Ruyter, happy birthday Granky, Mika Kennedy, Michael Kelberer, and Tom Deralo for a contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot, I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing the coverage of the FIDE World Cup. Thank you all, I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.